Hey guys, Eric here. So the reason you don't see my chair is that I'm standing up and I have one of those electric desks that can be raised and lowered. So I'm being cognizant about how much I'm sitting. So starting that. And I'll talk about that later in the video. Today's video is dedicated to my diabetic journey. So just get into it a little bit, a little background, because I talk about it a little bit in some of my shorts or some of the other videos. But for today, I'll just start from the beginning. So 2 years ago, I had what I call heart issue, where I woke up and my Fitbit since woke me up saying that my heartbeat was at 120 beats per minute. And then um, tried to just drink some water and go back because I had only slept for an hour. It's after my coming from work. I went to the gym, worked out, then came home, took a shower, and ate, and went to sleep. Well, after I drank the water, it went up to 130. So I knocked on the door, told my housemate at that time I needed to go to the emergency room. Once I changed my clothes and we went to the emergency room, on the way, it went up to 140. Then it went up to 145. When we were approaching the exit, it started coming down. And by the time we got into the emergency room, it actually came down to normal. But they went ahead and tested me. There was no, they thought maybe I had a heart attack, but there were no issues on the heart muscle itself. There was nothing really going on, like no pain in the left arm, anything like that. So just to verify, they said, well, what we're going to do is do a blood test to see if the heart blew up with some enzymes. Like when there's a heart attack, the heart releases enzymes into your blood. And so if it goes past the horizon, this horizon, then that means you had a clinical heart attack. And so that blood test was 2 hours. So we were talking and everything like that. And they came back and said, yep, you did have a clinical heart attack. We have to define it that way, but it was like a light heart attack, um, which means there was no issue with the heart muscle or anything like that. They also found that my right inner artery was 60% blocked. That's probably what happened with my Sense Fitbit. And so they kept me and they put a camera up and then put a stent in the right artery and kept me for 18 hours, and then released me. And then I was on 9 um, medications. And then after 9 months, they kept me off, got me off of all of that except for one, lisinopril and an aspirin. So that happened in 2022. Um, Coming forward, lost my job, came back to Charlotte, didn't have insurance last year or anything like that. Coming forward, finally, um, didn't get another job, so finally got insurance through Medicaid because the ACA said that my Social Security benefits were not enough to make me eligible for insurance on the ACA, and so they referred me to the state Medicaid program, and I was, because of Medicaid expansion, I was automatically enrolled into Medicaid, and I have the North Carolina WellCare insurance. And so then I got my doctor's appointment set up, and they did all the blood draw and all that and everything. And all of these blood tests and everything was in the normal range, except my glucose sugar. And based on my glucose sugar, A1C, my A1C at that time was 13.7, which means I was type 2 diabetic. And once I saw the results, they brought me back within 4 days to sit down, and I asked my doctor to actually say the words that I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, and she said yes. And so they put me on insulin, and the biggest thing that I was nervous about was money, because I didn't know what, I'm at the time of this video, I'm 63 years old. I just had a birthday last week. And at the time I was 62, and the only income I had was my Social Security benefits, because I retired early so I could get income, because I couldn't get a job at that time. So anyway, I remembered, and I invoked an old Eric that used to be an insurance person. I was a licensed insurance agent on the auto and home side, and then I was a licensed insurance agent for Medicare and for all 50 states. And so I invoked that Eric, called the insurance company just to get some information about what is covered and what's not covered. And so my insulin had to be pre-approved, and it was approved, and so that was covered. The Ozempic, well, actually, the 4 insulin options that my insurance company told me that was covered, the one that my doctor wanted me on, their pharmacy said it was not covered. And so they just changed it to another one that was covered, and same thing. So I got my insulin, but then I'm waiting for Ozempic to be approved. My doctor thought that they could bypass the preempting thing because of my age, being diabetic, being overweight, and a couple of other things, and thought that it would go around, it would bypass that. Well, it didn't. However, within 4 days, the insurance company approved it, and so I got my Ozempic. And so the insulin and Ozempic were together to bring my blood sugar down. And of course, I have to change my diet and all of that. And so I got an AccuCheck that I do with my glucose sugar test. I'm supposed to do this once a day in the morning. I'm back on cholesterol medication, just in case, because of the stent in my artery. And I have a doctor's appointment this coming Tuesday to talk to a heart specialist. We're going to sit down and talk about what happened in the past and to see if I need to be on blood pressure medication. But I don't think I have to, because I thought that I was supposed to be. I thought I still had high blood pressure. Well, when my doctor's nurse did my blood pressure, I was in the normal range. And I was shocked because I got a home blood pressure machine, and it was always high, like 150 over whatever number it was. Well, apparently the issue was, and they brought me back and asked me to bring the cuff back with me, and there was something wrong with my cuff, and they thought the one that I ordered, it was too small for my arm. So I ordered another one, and of course it's probably it was too big. But then it said that I was in the normal range. And so just to be okay, my doctor set me up for the heart doctor conversation. And so all that happened during the week of April 21st. So I went downstairs and got my insulin and all of that, all the prescriptions and all of that. And then I went over because I didn't know anything about being a type 2 diabetic, other than that you can get off the insulin and all of that. But I knew a lot of people who were type 1. And so they educated me on how to give myself a shot, how to check my blood sugar. And again, 4 days before, my A1C number was 13.7. When they tested me just to show me how to stick my finger and then to put the blood on the strip in the AccuCheck, and at that time it was 368. And at that time, I hadn't eaten all day because I thought they were going to draw more blood, and every time I come there, I have to pee because there was some type of urine analysis that needed to be. But since I'm talking about that, again, every single test, even my colorectal test, I use Cologuard, and my insurance paid for that so far. I haven't even got an explanation of benefits yet. Cologuard came back normal. So the only thing that was not normal was my glucose sugar, and that's why, and it was so not normal, I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And so I've been doing this since April 21st. Today is May 18th. Not a full 30 days yet. 4 more days. But the reason I'm doing this video is because when I had my visit with the diabetic educator, talking about that, the goal was to get me under 150. And so the first few days, not the first 7 days, but the first few days, I was focusing on sugar. And I didn't do a lot of things. I stopped eating a lot of things. And so kept coming down. And then I was in the 200s. Then it's trial and error about what your body will be able to process and not process. Insulin resistant is what's going on with me. I can generate insulin, but it will not get into the receptors to get into the blood vessels. So that's one reason why I'm on insulin, and my body won't process it. What I did not know until I talked to the diabetic educator is that it's not just about sugar, it's also about carbohydrates. Because once you eat a carbohydrate, it's automatically processed as sugar or into sugar. And so it's been an education. So if I see something that has 4 grams of carbohydrates, I need to see what type of fat is in there, if there's any fat in there, see if there's any fiber in there. And if it has sugar, then I also need to know if there's any protein in there, because there are some carbohydrates. I just finished eating about 10 minutes ago, that you can eat because it's balanced. Even if there's carbohydrates on your plate, there's a way to eat. And so you eat the protein first, you eat the vegetable second, and you eat the carbs last. And so that's what I've been doing. So then the second week, I'm in the 200s. And so I dropped from 368 down to 301. It went back up to I believe it went back up to, let me go all the way back. So the first day, the test, it was 361. Then it jumped up to 384. Because of course, nobody told me what I could eat and what I shouldn't eat. Then it dropped down to 365, 301, went back up to 309, went up to 338, dropped down below 300 to 298, went back up to 305, 309, came down to 285, and then I'm in the 200s, came down to 225. Then I got down to 187, then 186, went back up to 227, came down to 206, then 201, then 213, and I knew why. Then I could figure out why it keeps going back up. And so then it dropped down to 149, 1 point below 150, then 144, then 149, then 140, then all the way down to 125. It went back up to 136, then came down to 128, went back up to 139, went back up to 173, then 236. But it wasn't that today. Actually, let me just pull up the app because I think that was the average. Let me pull up my sugar app. So yeah, so today when I checked my blood sugar close, it was 128. The day before it was 136. And it's because I ate too late. I ate, and then within 5 minutes I was in the bed. And really, as a type 2 diabetic, you really shouldn't do that. Then it was 125, then 140, then 149, then 144, then 149. So this whole week, last Sunday, it was 213. Then starting on Monday, I was below 150. And so coming forward to today, 7 straight days, I'm in the green and I'm below 150. So I will take that win. So now I have to sustain that. And I figured out how to do it for the most part. Now I got to get a diabetic friendly multivitamin because I threw out everything that I was eating because I started eating gummies. But I didn't think about it. But now that I'm type 2, I looked at the keto supplement that I was, the keto ACV supplement gummy that I was using, the QAnol for heart health, and then my multivitamin. All of them were gummies, and all of them had sugar in them. So I had to toss them. The reason I wasn't taking pills is because for the most part, I don't know what it is, but in the last 15 years, pills have gotten so big, and they almost invoke my gag reflex. And so I talked to a couple of pharmacists today while we were out, and they were telling me, which is something I didn't know, you really shouldn't do it, but particularly with vitamins, you could actually, if the pill is too big, you can actually cut it in half and then take both halves separately. So once I talked to my diabetic educator on Wednesday, then just to confirm, because I also have to think about magnesium and the right magnesium for my kidneys and kidney health, but also a couple of other nutritional supplements because I'm also on a weight loss journey as well. That's something that type 2 diabetics, not only do you have to control your blood sugar, but you really should be controlling your weight as well. And I've been overweight for a minute. In transparency, I'm an emotional eater. So if something happened at work, even though I had healthy food at home, I would stop by some store and pick up some comfort food, or I would pick up all the ingredients and I would make me a 7-Up cake, and then I would eat the whole cake. Not at one time, but that was my reward for getting through that. Unbeknownst to me, I was setting up myself to be a diabetic. And so that's how I got here. And so I decided that it was my goal to get back to, I was going to get back to my college weight. It was 180 pounds. But looking at some pictures that I was able to find of me at that time, I actually look ill. I mean, too thin really for my frame. So my goal is 20 pounds more. My goal is to get down to 200. Nice even number to 195, 205, somewhere in there, and then that will be a healthy weight for me. Um, and then at that time, the goal is to get me off insulin. And so the plan is, as long as I do everything that I'm supposed to do and I can sustain it, they will take me off the pure insulin in 9 months, keep me on Ozempic unless I get some side effects and I have to move to something else, and then add another diabetic pill, most likely metformin, but I'm seeing a lot of issues with metformin, which will be a conversation I have with my doctor. And then it's ramped up for me to get my weight in checked. But I'm not going to wait that long as far as my weight is concerned. Um, Truthfully, I've been eating some of the same things because I know they work and I know they won't spike my sugar, my blood sugar. I've had to get up a lot. So last week, when my blood sugar was at 213, I went into the pantry and I threw everything that was mine that was high in carbs. I threw it out. The cereal Cheerios, I can't eat Cheerios anymore because each cup of cereal has 42 grams of carbs in it, and I can't justify that. Not when I'm sitting at, well, when the doctor weighed me, I was 252 pounds. Granted, they didn't have me take off my shoes or anything, but I weigh myself in my underwear 3 times a week, but I only take the actual weight and pictures on a Sunday. So today, when I got on scale, because I'm tracking not only my weight, but I'm also tracking the shape. And so today I got on the scale, which I have to buy another one so that I can get the body fat percentage, the BMI, all of that to come to my phone. So I can keep track of that. And so later this week, I'm going to buy a different digital scale, smart scale. And so today it was 241. So officially, in less than a month, I have lost 11 pounds. And so I'll take that as a win. And so I've got 41 pounds to go. And I watched a couple of videos about type 2 diabetics working out, and I was already working out 4 days a week. And two things. Number one, I was also doing a 5-mile walk every day. So I do that 6 days a week and do it in the morning now that it's gotten hot. And it seems that I was actually overdoing it because my weight was holding steady for a while, particularly right around 246. And I was trying to figure out why wasn't the number coming down. And I think the scales were malfunctioning a little bit, but I could tell by the fit of my clothes that I was losing inches. And so far, most of the weight has come out of my stomach. I think I've gotten rid of about 80% of the outer layers of fat. And now the goal is to get rid of the visceral fat, which will then decrease the size of my stomach. But for the most part, I've lost a lot of fat in my legs because I'm an endomorph and I carry all my weight in the middle of my body. I had a lot of fatty hanging on my arms. I've lost most of that. Been working out with the dumbbells a little bit to get my arms back. I won't be able to get back my 17-inch arms. That's not even the goal. But just to get me in a healthy body, losing the fat, keeping my body fat down. Because right now my BMI, I think it's 37 or 36 point something, but my fat composition is way higher than it should be. I can't remember what the number was on the scale today. Plus, it's so small you can't see it. And then it erases itself. And that's why I'm getting a smart scale that will send it to my phone. So that essentially is my journey. And so I'm switching up my weight workout. I follow this guy named Dr. Hampton on YouTube, who actually gave some good advice that, particularly for weight loss in diabetics. And so I'm going to start it tomorrow. So I'm not going to work out 4 days a week. I'm still going to walk 6 days a week, but I'm only going to do bench work 3 days a week. And I'm changing some of the exercises, and then it'll allow at least one day in between exercises, in between working out, to give my body time to heal. And then I can still do my cardio, the walking, because the walking has helped. It has. I sleep better now too. And so I'm going to start that tomorrow. And then hopefully by the middle of the week or the end of the week, I'll be back on my multivitamin. I take a probiotic still to get my gut health back. I have had to give up a lot. My favorite thing to do, my favorite thing to buy, I could go into any grocery store, and the first aisle I would go to was pick up a box of Cheez-Its. No more. No more. Like I said, no cereal. As hot as it is, my first thing coming in from a walk to rehydrate and bring my body temperature down was to get a freeze pop. No more. Each freeze pop has 2 grams of sugar in it. And I wouldn't just eat one, I would eat 3. In fact, you go buy a bag of free pops for $2.95, and that bag would be gone by 4 days into the week. I mean, all it was to my body was frozen Kool-Aid. That's all it was. But I can't eat that. Even the fruit juice drink that I drink, juices are out, lemonade is out, orange juice is out. I miss drinking orange juice, so the reason I got to do a multivitamin is to make sure I get enough vitamin C. And my milk is good. My milk is good, but without the cereal. So it has been, it's also an educational journey as well. And my housemate, who is not near, but he and his sister are concerned about their A1C numbers because they are actually close to being pre-diabetic. And so I give them information that my diabetic educator got about what to shop for and what to look for. And some of the things that I cook now for myself, I cook for my housemate, so he will have that to eat for lunch. And so we're kind of on the same, a little bit of a journey, but I am focused on that. In fact, I pumped the brakes on my small business. I own and operate a notary business. I'm having to revamp that a little bit because my only sole income is my Social Security benefits, and I've been trying to put money into the business that way. But then I've been having to take the money out because I got other bills I need to pay. And so I'm rethinking that while I'm doing all this. But it's manageable, though. It's manageable. And I honestly didn't know how this diabetic journey was going to be for me. And granted, it hasn't even been a full month yet. But I'm taking these wins as I go. And I'm really proud of the way that I'm handling this. In some respects, it is not that difficult. Had a conversation with my brother the other day. We've reconnected after so many years. We are actually half brothers. We're connected through our father. And I knew a little bit of history about my father's family, particularly his heart issues. My father passed away due to heart attack, heart issues. His mother, I had always been told that she died from sugar. Well, back in the day, there was no word for diabetes. So I'm assuming that's what that meant. And then when I talked to my brother and told him that I had been diagnosed and all that, come to find out 20 years ago, he was diagnosed as type 2. So, and family genes can have an effect on whether you are or will be diabetic or not, particularly type 2. So in that respect, the good news is I can reverse it, come off the insulin, but of course I'll have to maintain it so I don't have to go back on the insulin. But that's the goal. That's 8 months from now, to see whether or not I can come off the insulin. But the 6-month check is to make sure that I have held steady below 150. And I've looked at an estimated chart. Somewhere below, anywhere below 150, I'm in the 10-point range of my A1C. And if I maintain that, then they will change the insulin regime. And then the goal will get me from 10 down to 6.4. My doctor saying that her patients who are my age, who are type 2 diabetic, she wants them to get to and maintain 6.4 or below. I believe the 6.4 is the cutoff, or 6.7 might be the cutoff. But I wanted to do a video dedicated to this, and I think now, instead of mixing the videos, I'm going to do a weekly video on my diabetic journey and talk about foods that I discovered that don't spike my blood sugar. Hopefully other people in communities, because I belong to 2 Facebook groups on Diabetics 101 for beginners, and then Diabetics type 2, those, and there's a wealth of information in those Facebook groups. And then I found some videos to follow on YouTube as well. But this is a journey, and every diabetic is different. But there are some things that we can help each other with, particularly where food is concerned, like where to go, what recipes, what things that you can eat and you can do that will help you along your journey. And so those are what my video is going to be about, once a week. And then in between there, if something happens, good, bad, or indifferent, or I just want to check in, I'll probably do a short, say maybe on my walk or when I'm working out, or maybe in the morning when I do my glucose sugar test. If I can get and maintain, get close to 100, can talk about those things. But what I would also ask, if you're on this journey as well, and you have found recipes that work for you, if you found multivitamins, supplements, and you're doing fasting, because I have that as a weight loss addition to help me with my weight loss journey. Right now, my goal is to fast from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Today, I actually fasted until 5:30, so an 18-hour fast, and see how that did with me. And so, but my window to eat is between now, today, 5:30 and 11. And so I had a healthy meal of ground turkey with onions, and I found a spaghetti sauce that's it's kind of like a mid-grade sauce. It was about $8. Only has a cup of sauce, only has 2 grams of sugar in it, only has 6 carbs in it, has the right fat group in it, and it has a little bit of protein and fiber in it too. And so I mixed that in with my sauce, and we'll see how that goes. I talked about before where I can't do the freeze pops anymore, but I can have a smart carb fudge sickle. The smart carb fudge sickles are low in carbs, but they do not spike my glucose sugar. They do not. I was shocked at that. And it's chocolate on top of that. So I'm happy about that. I'm fingers crossed that this sauce works. I just have to pay attention to how much that I use. And this has been an education journey for me with as far as portions are concerned too. So I'll end the video here, and I appreciate you watching. But like I said, if you have any jewels or nuggets of information regarding type 2 diabetes, recipes, supplements, anything that works for you that you think might work for me, put them in the comments. And I will take care of yourself. Um, it's a journey. Um, think of this as part of life. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you have to pace yourself. And so, just like I said, I didn't gain all this weight in a month. It took years and some emotional ups and downs to get this. And so, it's going to take a minute for me to get rid of it, particularly if I do it the right way, it will happen. And so, till next time, friends, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.